Okay, this is also a video about selecting your puzzle cube pieces. This one's going to be much more brief for those of you that feel like you can pick up a lot of these things quickly. So I set up a spreadsheet, name it, locate it, title of the top puzzle piece, width, height, depth, and get your numbers 1 to 27. I've already gotten some measurements that I'm just pasting in, but you're going to go through and you're going to measure your width, height, and depth of all your puzzle cube pieces. I'm going to just use the width for right now, and I'm going to center those. Okay, also a quick trick for you. Under view, I'm going to freeze the top one row. If I freeze the top one row, my headers will stay there. Okay, underneath, we're going to do some summary stats. We are going to do median, we're going to do mode, mean, standard deviation. I'll just abbreviate. We're actually going to do mean plus 1 standard deviation, mean minus 1 standard deviation, and we'll go ahead and do our max, min, and range. So you might remember how to do these formulas. Median, mode, mean is average, standard deviation is STDEV, now mean plus 1, I'm going to select the cells mean plus a standard deviation, hit enter. Mean minus 1 standard deviation, I'm going to choose the cells again, equal for a formula, mean minus the cell with standard deviation, hit enter. Max is equal max, B2 to B28, and min is equal min, again, B2 to B28. I could even just type that in. There's a colon in between the first and last cell. Range is the difference between the max, so difference minus, and min. Hit enter. I'm going to highlight these that have way too many decimals. Format, number. I might have a choice down here. I can always hit more formats and custom number to get into this menu where I can really make it exactly what I want, but I want 4 values after the decimal, just like the other ones. Let's go ahead and make those bold as well. Just like to clean up the formatting. We can make that a little larger because it is more of a title for this section. Okay. The next thing you're going to do, so we've got some summary statistics here about our widths. You can, after you measure your heights and depth, just know that you can highlight these. You can grab that little box in the corner and pull it over, and notice that my formulas are the same, but they've moved to now looking for column C instead of column B, and over here I'm looking at column D. So you can pull those over. These errors and things you're getting are because there's no values up there yet. I'll get rid of that for right now. But the point of doing this is that you're going to have some puzzle cubes that are too big, or some are too small relative to the group, that it's kind of awkward to build a puzzle cube with. That one that's a little bit too big or a little bit too small is going to make your project not very nice. So we'd like to throw those out. The ones we're going to throw out right now, we are going to go after locating any puzzle cube whose dimension is outside of, so in this case greater than, mean plus 1 standard deviation, or smaller than the mean minus 1 standard deviation. So we want all of the cubes we use to be within these two values. No bigger than 0.7684 and no smaller than 0.7300. Okay, so how I do that? I could obviously go looking, but here's a trick. Highlight all these cells that contain your values. Okay, they're all highlighted. Go to Format, Conditional Formatting, Apply to Range, yep, B2 to B28, Format Cells if, I'd like to change the formatting of these cells if they are greater than my mean plus 1 standard deviation, which I can see right over here, 0.7684, 0.7684. The formatting style, there's some right here to choose from. These are background colors. I can just do that. If you were on a really get a custom color, you can click on the little fill pail and pick your color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click done, and I can add another rule to that same selection. So this time I'm going to format these cells if they are not greater than, but if they are less than. The value I'm going to use is the mean minus 1 standard deviation, so 0.7300. 0.7300. Let's make it a different color just so I can separate which ones are bigger and which ones are smaller. I'll use red this time. Hit done. And I don't need any more rules. I can close this conditional format rule dialog box. And there you go. If I scroll back up, you can see that it looks like it's only these 4, but I have puzzle cube piece number 20, 21, 22, and 25 are all outside of 1 standard deviation. So I'm going to find those in my pile. I'm going to replace them. I'm going to take them back up to the table. I'm going to put them off to the side so other students don't pick those if they are outside of the range we want. And I'm going to grab 4 more. And I'm going to take them back to my desk and title them 20, 21, 22, and 25. I'll measure them, and I'll plug their dimensions in. I'm not going to change my conditional formatting rule, even though these values should change. Right? As we change our data set, we're going to have some updates. But let's go ahead and just leave these, even though these change, let's leave our conditional formatting the same. And we'll just use that original range to highlight and change which ones to get rid of. And hopefully after you plug in the next, maybe 4 or 5 measurements, you'll get rid of all of these. Okay, you're going to repeat that process for the height and depth. If you'd like all of your data centered, click on these column headers, and right over here, by formatting, I can choose center for horizontal alignment if you want everything all centered up. Okay, so there you go. When you're done, you should have all of your data in the spreadsheet. You should have 27 cubes, none of which are highlighted, and those will be 27 good cubes to use for your project. Okay?